Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a morning of stamping. I jumped on about 10 minutes early, actually about 9 minutes early. I think I'm actually about 8 minutes early right now, because I think when I set my thing up in StreamYard, I set it up for 8:20 instead of 8:30, and it was telling me it's showtime. Go live. So I went ahead and hit go live because it was showtime. So I always talk a little bit at the beginning, and there's a little bit that I have to share with you about things going on with Stamp It Up. So I ended up just going live because they told me I was supposed to, and I'm sure people will be popping on here. So thank you guys so much for joining me on a Saturday morning. I'm so sorry about Thursday, but I did not even crawl out of bed until I think it was like 4:30, quarter to 5 on Thursday night that I made it from my bed to my recliner. I had tried in the morning to sit in my recliner for a while, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Just go to bed, Sarah. You don't feel well. So anyway, yeah, I have not really had the stomach flu for a long time. And I think I told you that my New Year's resolution was that I needed to lose some weight again. And so I stepped on the scale on New Year's Day, and I haven't stepped on it since. But with being sick and not eating anything for an entire day, and then yesterday just having a very bland diet as well, um, I'm down like 14 pounds. So it's not that my favorite way to lose weight, but it's a good way to kickstart wanting to lose weight for the new year, huh? Now I just have to keep it off, right? So thank you guys so much for joining me on this Saturday instead of Thursday. So there are a few things that are going on with Stampin' Up that's really exciting. Right now we have our bonus days. So anytime you spend $50, you will earn a $5 coupon that you can use from February 3rd until February 28th. Um, just so you know, if you have Stampin' Rewards and you use those, it takes it off of. So let's say you're at $50 and you're like, oh, I've got, $5 in Stampin' Rewards. I'm going to apply those. Now you're down to 45. You won't qualify for a coupon. So I just want you to know that it has to be $50 that you actually, after any rewards or anything like that that you put on. What Stampin' Up will do is they will email you um, a coupon code. You have to keep these coupon codes. They don't email everybody's to me. So in the past, I've had people say, do you know what my coupon code is? I know I have a $5 coupon. I don't. So you have to keep those coupons. As soon as you place your order, you've earned a bonus day coupon. I don't even remember. I should look at mine to see exactly what it says. So what I end up doing is I copy all of those and I open up a document and I put Stampin' bonus day. I'll call it bonus day coupon codes, and I just paste them all in there, because then when it comes time for me to actually go and use them in February, then what I'll do is I'll just copy and I'll paste them in where it says, do you have any coupons that you want to use? And so I'll just go ahead, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, and all of them will be in there. And I don't have to worry about, looking at it going, is that a 2 or is that, I can just copy and paste it right in there. So that is going on right now. Our product of the month is Fabulous Sayings. Now, how this product of the month works, again, you have to spend $75, and that is, again, before any rewards. So if you spend let's say $78, and you have $5 in rewards, now you've fallen underneath the 75 that you actually spent. And so then you would have to add a little bit to qualify for the product of the month. It will pop up when you get to that $75. No, Julie, you're not late. I accidentally, when I set this up last night, set it up as 8:20 instead of 8:30, and StreamYard was screaming at me like, you're supposed to be live. And so I decided I might as well just go live and get all of the talking out of the way. And then I will make sure that I talk until 8:30 so that I won't start stamping until then, so people don't miss that. So, but this product of the month, the December one is not out of stock yet. So when you go to claim your product of the month, you can pick either the December one or you can pick the January one if you haven't already received the December one. But if you got the December one back in December, then the only thing that would be available to you would be this January one. And this stamp set, I got mine already. I was so low on cutting blades that I had to do a second day air order. And I also had some papers that I needed to do because I have my card buffet is not until the very end of the month. So if you normally get my newsletter and you're wondering, when am I going to get the newsletter? When is the card buffet? It's not until the 31st of January. And so it was when we were going to do it the weekend before, but there was a wedding at church. And so we had to do it the last weekend. So Kathy and I are doing that together. So anyway, that was like a little squirrel thing. But I ended up ordering a second day air order because I needed my replacement blades for my trimmer because they were out of stock. And I didn't get them when they had that special order because I didn't realize I needed them until they were out of stock. So I've been really scrambling and like, oh, this looks like, like when you go to cut something and it frays it a little bit. And I'm like, I just need some blades. So anyway, I got my order yesterday. Thursday, I got my order. And so I have the product of the month here. Let me come back to you and I'll show you. So this is what it looks like. Look at those greetings. Awesome greetings. I think I will use this stamp set quite a bit just because of the wonderful, anytime I'm looking for like an inside greeting or like a bigger outside greeting, these are actually pretty big. And so I really do like them. So that is our product of the month. So there's a lot going on. So the $75 that you would spend to get the product of the month for $5, this isn't free. This is $5. You have to pay for that, which is a steal for, like what you get for that. Cheryl, thank you. I'm feeling a lot better than I was. I was telling that before, I still haven't really eaten anything that's greasy or anything. The most I've like ventured to try is I had a little lunch meat turkey last night on some plain sourdough bread. And that was about it, but it tasted really good. I was actually hungry, which is good. My stomach ache was gone. Oh, it was awful. But anyway, what was I saying? You can take advantage of all of those things. So if you spend $75, you can pay $5 for the product of the month and you will get a $5 bonus day coupon. It's like Stampin' Up's thrown all of this stuff. I think because people are so used to celebration this time of the year, where you would earn $5 products anytime you spent something. They're trying to find ways to reward you where you can come back and you can shop later and things like that. So it's kind of a great time of the year to be able to buy some new stamps along with our new catalog that went live this last week as well. I sort of lost track of who I got catalogs to at different events that I had. So those of you that would like a catalog yet, I know Betty, I saw you on here. I know I have to send one to you. Nancy, I see you on here and I have to send one to you. If there's anyone else that wasn't at one of my events and did not get a catalog and would like a catalog, please email me. My email is, let me put it up here, createwithsarahllc@gmail.com. I'm not an LLC anymore, but I made the email out that way. And so now I'm stuck with it. I used to sell my cards at a store. And so I had to be an LLC in order to sell them there and do all that stuff for taxes. And when I stopped selling my cards at a store, I ended up canceling my LLC with the state of Wisconsin. And so, but my email is still kind of there. So anyway, if you would like a catalog, please send me an email. don't put it in the comments here because sometimes I miss those. So it's better to email me, and I'm going to work on those this afternoon. Those of you who are on my team and didn't go to the team meeting because or our Christmas party, I do have your stuff to send out in the mail as well. I was also waiting for something to send as a little gift to you since everybody else on my team had the gift of the lunch that I provided or paid for everyone. I wanted to send a little something since you weren't able to partake in that. And I couldn't order those things until the catalog went live on Tuesday. So that's another reason why I second day aired my order so that I could get all this stuff for a Christmas party off to all of you. So if you are on my team and didn't go to the Christmas party, just know that expect that this week. Those are things I'm working on this weekend. So I'm finally at 8:30. So for those of you that thought I was going live at 8:30, I accidentally typed in 8:20. So I had to start a little bit early, but now we've got all the talking out of the way. So a reminder of my creative challenge that goes through the end of the month. You can find the dimensions that look like this on my Facebook page. And then you will also see a picture of the 2 cards that I made. So this was one of them. Whoops, let's put it back together. Everything's backwards for me when I look at it. Good morning, Marge. And then here's the Easter one. Opens like that and like that. Okay, so many people have already participated in this and posted their pictures. If you are not on Facebook, you can also email me your pictures and I will post them for you. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4. If Karen's on here, I got your pictures. I just have to go ahead and upload them yet. I downloaded them onto my phone, but I have to put them on Facebook yet. But what happens with this creative challenge is that if you enter a card into the creative challenge, your name goes into a drawing. And at the end of the month, I do a drawing for $30 that I will gift to you, Stampin' Rewards, that you can spend however you want in from Stampin' Up. So it's kind of a fun way for me to reward you for sharing some of your talent with all of us. You're not late, Mary. I jumped on early because I made a mistake when I set up my live and set it up at 8:20. So you are not that late. But anyway, all right, let's go ahead and put the stuff aside. And I think since we're at 8:30, almost 8:35, let's go ahead and do some stamping. So let me switch. Ooh, there we go. All right. So here is our new mini catalog. And again, I apologize for those that haven't received one yet. I will get those in the mail to you. One of the things in this new mini catalog that I really like is there are a couple of designer series papers that they have featured in here that do not belong to a suite of products. So they can be used with some of those standalone bundles that don't belong to a suite of products. I know sometimes I struggle when there's a bundle and I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to use for paper with this? Because it doesn't really go, there's not really a designer paper that goes with it. So these are called just mixed up patterns. There's a lot of different patterns in the paper and they have different colors in them and they really do work well with a variety of different bundles. So both cards that I'm going to be doing for you today is going to be featuring some paper from here and it's going to be featuring some bundles that are not part of a suite of products. So you can see how to use those and how you might, like I find this paper, like I've used a lot of this paper already, and I think it's because it is so versatile. It can be used with so many different things. And this one's called Mixed Up Patterns. And the first card that we're going to be using it with, I got to see if I can find the stamp set. I don't think maybe I did. I'm going to be using my favorite stamp set. This is Carol Norquist. $1 million stamp set, and it's called Prayers and Promises. I've used it a couple of times already, but there was this saying in here that says, praying that the Lord's promises will bring you hope and comfort in the days ahead. And when I saw that, I saw the word hope, and I had gotten, let me see if I can find it. Goodness. I don't know if it's an online exclusive. Oh, let me see. No, page 52. I thought I did all the pages that I wanted to show you, but I guess I didn't. This stamp set just kind of drew my attention when I looked at it. This hope, love, and joy. I liked it because I loved the praying hands. I loved the world that was in it. I loved this little dove and the little cancer ribbon that was in there. And I looked at some of the cards that they did that were just simple. And I looked and I saw that they used some of that paper. And I was like, I'm going to get that just to play with it. And then that paper's on back order already, Mary. Which paper? What's on back order? I'm guessing it's the paper, 837. Hope, Love, and Joy is on back order, or the paper. It might be the paper. I'm sorry, I didn't look at that. I decided to just do some cards that I had made using that. And oh, geez, I'll find out for you, and I'll let you know when it will be back in order. We'll do that at the end. Remind me. So I saw this and I was like, it intrigued me. So I signed up to do a swap where I had to use this stamp set or this bundle, and I ordered the bundle because I thought it's just interesting. And then I was forced to have to make something with it. So my first card is going to be using this, and we're going to use the word hope, and we're going to use wishing you hope. And because that other stamp said praying that the Lord's promises will bring you hope and comfort, we're going to use the praying hands as part of it as well. So that's where I'm kind of going with this first card that I'm having. Oh, January 26th or 28th. Okay, the prayers and promises, okay, is out of, I figured that one was going to go pretty fast because it is an awesome stamp set. When wouldn't you use it, right? Oh my goodness, now I feel like I have a cold coming on. That's not good. Oh, your mom's name is Hope, Lisa. That's awesome. That's so cool. Okay, so here is our stamp set. Here are these two stamp sets. Here are our dies. So we've got the word joy, hope, love. They don't put the O in it, so you can do whatever you want. They do give you the O that you can put it in. You can replace it with that. They also give you a circle that you could put in there. That's what we're going to do today with it. And these dies will cut out. So this will cut that out, okay? Or you can just, I used it as a circle to put in there. All of these stamps can be cut out with these little dies. And then they threw in a couple of little extra dies. There's a little flower and a little leaf. So we're going to use those. There's this little like circle, like what do you call it? Scallop circle. And there's this extra little tiny heart and a little tiny, like a star that you could use. Okay, so those are the dies. And I have the stamp sets here. So let's take a look at what we need. This is a fun fold that I know I've done before. I need to take a drink of water because there we go. I could tell like I was hardly talking anymore. This is a fun fold that I've done before, but I haven't done it for a while. So I thought I might as well do it again for those who maybe have just started watching me. So my card base that I'm using is Bubble Bath, and it measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 2 1/8 and at 4 1/4. Okay, I don't know if you can see those score lines, but I do have those score lines in there. Okay, the mat for a greeting is Secret C. Now, how did I come up with Secret C? I'll show you in a second, but this is 3.5 by 2. And my greeting layer is 3 1/4 by 1 3/4. And I just cut it at this size because when I stamped the word hope, I kind of measured to see about what I needed for the word and then to be able to put my little greeting on the top. So that's what I came up with for layers. We're going to need some little pop-up tabs to pop this up. And each of these measure 2 inches by 1.5. And on the 2-inch side, I scored them at 1. So these are scored to make some little tabs that we're going to use to pop this up. All right. And then I have 2 pieces of DSP, and this is strawberry slush, which is so pretty. But this measures these each measure 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. Oops, sorry. And this one measures 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. And the reason that I ended up doing the Secret C is when I looked at the back of this, I was like, I like how that looks together. So I used Secret C as kind of like my little color of pop. And then I used the strawberry slush and the bubble bath with that because I thought this little, it was like a little bit shade lighter. And I thought the bubble bath kind of looked good with that. You also need a neutral layer for your greeting inside. And that measures 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. So those are all of our measurements. I'll bring this back at the end with the picture with the card on there so that you can see it all put together. I also have a scrap of white to do some additional stamping. And then I have some die cuts that I'll show you as well when we get there. So let's take this right here and this. Set this up here. I'm going to bring my stamping mat. I'll leave all the other stuff up there and we'll bring that back in a little bit. I'm using Secret C for my ink. And I have my stamps on their blocks here. Let me take a look at my, I never even grabbed my ink pads. See, I cut all this stuff when I made my swaps and I'm like, put all the dimensions down because I'm like, okay, this will make it really easy when it comes time for me to be doing this for a live. So let's start with this. This is going to be our hope. And for this, I use strawberry slush. Let me grab it from my ink pads here. And we will ink up the hope. And I'm going to stamp this towards the bottom. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then with our Secret C, we're going to put wishing you along the top. That looks pretty good. On our inside, I'm going to use that, praying that the Lord's promises will bring you hope and comfort in the days ahead. Stamp that up on top. That looks pretty good. And our praying hands, I'm going to do in Secret C, and I'm going to do one down here, and I'm going to do one on our scrap. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of coloring with some blends. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Tammy. All right, let's see here. Let's grab our Secret C. You know what? I think it's on my desk. Actually, not Secret C. Strawberry slush. What am I thinking? Strawberry slush. I wanted the lighter one instead of the darker one, and just my darker one was here. So I'm like, the lighter one must be on my desk. I'm just going to color the cuffs of the praying hands. Just to bring that color, that strawberry slush color in. I'm so glad I don't use my cell phone for doing lives anymore, and that I got this other camera. I'm part of a group that plans a retreat, and they love to do group texts. And oh my goodness, my phone right now is exploding because somebody sent something already this morning, and I've already missed 8 messages from there. Because so if my phone was on, it would be like freezing up every time one of those messages came in, even though I put it on do not disturb. All right. I also have to get, oh, sorry. You know, when I have things done ahead, then I realize, oh, some of that stuff is sitting on my desk. So this is a light petal pink. Yes. Nope, this is dark petal pink. And I'm just going to color in the hands. You could also use the ivory color that we have or any of the skin tones. Oops, here, let's go ahead. All right, so we do have a die that will cut that out, and I should have brought that in first because I'm going to have to color that again because I don't think when I cut these that I colored it. I didn't. So that's okay. It's not anything big that we have to color. So I did cut that little circle. I cut 3 of those little flowers. You can see those. I cut 2 of the little leaves in Secret Sea. And let me just go back and do this again. Sorry, guys. And okay. So I have all my little parts here. I'm going to keep them right on there, and I'm going to bring everything else back in. I'm going to just set this aside, and we'll start putting our card together. So I'm going to fold this in half and grab my bone folder and give that a good burnish. And then I'm going to fold this in as well. Okay, so this is going to be an easel card. So what's going to happen is I'm going to take that one little piece of designer paper and I'm going to raise that up on dimensionals and put that inside so that that can get caught on here and my little wishing you hope can stand up. All right, hopefully that will make sense. We can go ahead and actually put the inside in already. Let's grab some dimensionals. Oh, these I'm going to cut apart. Make sure when you get to the end of a thing of dimensionals that you use all of it. Cut all these little things apart. There's probably more dimensionals than I need. Pull those off. And then what I want to do when I line this up, hey, Kathy Miller, is I want to make sure that I have an even border on either side here. So now this will rest on here and that will stand up. Okay. And then this I'm going to put, whoops, take the cover off, Sarah. Gosh, I have to learn that lesson. I do that almost every week. Oh, good luck to Sawyer. Well, you're going to be right by my house, Lisa. All right, this again, I'm watching the border on that side and just setting that down there. Okay, so there's that. Then what we want to do is we want to put these, and I want these up a little bit higher. I want these to go about right here. Now I'm putting these on first so that I can put my designer paper over the top of them and cover that little flap. It doesn't matter all that much because your banner kind of covers that afterwards, but It's how I've always done it. Oh, I got a little bit of glue there. There we go. I'm putting these kind of up towards the top. So then this will go on there. And again, these were 2 inches by 1.5. And I'm just taking the where it's scored or where it's folded, and I'm lining that up with the score line right there so that this little flap will pull those up. Okay, now I'm going to cover those up with my designer paper. Okay, and that's going to go down like that. I'm going to actually, I should have done that before I put those on there. Just giving that a little bit of a burnish. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and add whoops, I think I miscut. What do you think? Do you think I miscut that? I think I did. Let me get my paper trimmer in here. Oh, goodness. Let's see. What was it supposed to be? One of them is miscut. I don't know which one, but it was supposed to be it was supposed to be 3.5. There's 3.5. Well, that's right. I think I miscut I think the whole thing was supposed to be bigger. I think I miscut that one. So let me just trim a little bit off here, like about 1/8 of an inch. Usually like to do this with my little, oh, I did a pretty good job. I cut these a long time ago, so I must have cut something wrong when I was cutting it up. So there's that, and that's going to go on there. So you can either use liquid glue, you could use tear and tape if you want. I think the seal is just fine. I made all my cards with seal and I didn't have a problem with them. And now I'm just going to center this right to left. And then once I feel like I have it centered and straight, I just press it down. Okay, so see how that pops up then when you go to put it on there? Oh, so fun. All right, let's go ahead and put this part together. So I'm going to take this little circle that I did, and I'm going to put that right in the center where the O would be. And I'm going to take a little mini dimensional and put that on our praying hands. Put that right in the center of it. Okay, so wishing you hope. And then we've got the praying that the Lord's promises will bring you hope and comfort in the days ahead. So that kind of brought that greeting right inside. All right, and then I thought, let's just fancy up this little one of the corners here. So I chose this one. I don't know why I chose that one, but I did. So I have these little flowers and I have these little leaves. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 of the flowers on glue dots. Whoops, wrong side. Oh, shoot. There we go. And we'll do the 2 leaves on glue dots. Wrong side. And this one I'm going to throw a little dimensional on. Okay, so I'm going to pull these off, and I'm just going to place 2 of them flat. this up a little bit. Shoot. There we go. And then we're going to pop the other one in between them. And then we'll take our 2 leaves. Just pop that underneath there. That. And like that. Oh, it's so fun. And then I'm going to take our strawberry slush. These are our in color flat pearls, which I love. As you can tell, I have a lot of packs of these that have a little bit of each color on each one. I'm just going to find some that have some of the little strawberry slush ones left. I want the littlest ones. This one does. And we will, my iPad's in here. Didn't know my iPad was in here. I'm like, what's beeping at me? Because my phone is silenced. All right, we're going to take the tiniest one. I'm going to pop them right in the center of those flowers. And then after I put the gem on, whoops, let's see if we can get this. There we go. After I put the gem on, I go back and I add a little bit of Wink of Stella. I find that if I put my Wink of Stella on first, that the gem doesn't stick to it. So then I just Wink of Stella around that little gem, and then I don't have to worry about the gem constantly falling off because of the Wink of Stella that I put on there. For some reason, the stickiness of the gem doesn't like that little Wink of Stella. So we'll Wink of Stella those flowers. I don't know if you can see how sparkly they are, but they're really sparkly. All right, so there is our final card. I don't know. I think it's called a pop-out easel card. I think that's what it's called. I never get any of the names. I probably should, right? Figure out what the names of them are so I could tell you that, so you could look it up online and find other cards like that. But I just go by, like, these are cards that I had before and end up making them. And so there is our, that way you can kind of see. Those are the dimensions. I have the envelope here, and I think I'm going to put, let me just go ahead and put a little bit of that paper on the outside. Let me cut some here quick. All right, so hopefully you got the screenshot of that. Let's bring our envelope back in here. And let's, thanks, Linda. Welcome. Let's add a little bit of glue to this. And we'll put some of that pretty paper on. And we'll cut around here. You could also put those little praying hands in the front of the envelope if you wanted to as well. But there is another card. Cheryl. Yeah, there's really a lot that you can do with that. I loved the word love. I figured you could do a wedding card with the love. I figured you could do, well, you could do Valentine's Day if you wanted to. There's the joy that you could use really for anything. But I loved the fill the world with hope, fill the world with love. There's a lot of different things that you could do. So much joy. There's a little snowflake if you wanted to do something for Christmas. There's just a lot of different things that you could do, but I love that word hope. I love the word joy. Those are some of my favorite words. And so when I saw this stamp set, I'm like, I have to have that. So that is our first card today. Let me throw my stamp pads back here. I'm going to grab another drink because my voice is starting to sound raspy. I hope I'm not getting a cold on top of what I just had. That would be miserable. All right, so that's our card number 1. Let me set it over here. Let me bring my catalog back in. I'm going to show you where we're going to get the stuff for our card number 2. So again, I'm going to use this designer paper for those of you that jumped on late because I was early. This is the Mixed Up Patterns Designer Series paper, which does not go with a suite of products, but goes nicely with a lot of different bundles that we have. I've used this blue paper for a couple of cards. We're going to use this yellow paper. We used this actually last week with our Easter card as well. And now I just used this one. So there's a lot of different ways. It has fresh freesia, I think, in it. Old Olive, Secret Sea, Strawberry Slush, Bubble Bath, Balmy Blue, Daffodil Delight, which is what we're going to use our next one. So, and it does go along with some of the other designer papers as well. So we're going to be using this Woolly Friends. So this is a bundle that comes with a stamp set rather than with a dies. And it does work very nicely with the Sunshine and Tulips, which I had to get the Sunshine and Tulips because I come from Dutch heritage, and tulips are huge for us. And so I thought that that was really, really cool. I haven't done anything with that bundle yet, but we're going to use this bundle today. We are going to use the tulips that are in here for our card. So the stamp set looks like this. I haven't tucked my thing in yet. Okay, so you have 2 bodies. Okay, you have 1 head. You have a fill for the body if you want. You have these 3 tulips in a row with the fill for them and the fill for the leaves. You have the outline of a bell and the fill for the bell. You have the outline of a bow and the fill for the bow, this little cute butterfly, the grass, and then a couple of different sayings. And then this little fill fills in this little, like the little curly thing on top of his head there. So really, really cute. This does have Welcome Cutie, which would be a nice baby gift. We're going to be using the Sending Flowers and Sunshine. I did that way, and I kept the inside blank so that I could use it for whatever I want. So Sending Flowers and Sunshine, I could do a thinking of you, I could do a happy birthday, whatever I need when I'm ready to send it, I'm going to use. So I did receive 2 swaps that was kind of the inspiration for, let me get the last stamps out of the way here. I did receive 2 swap cards that were my inspiration for the card that I'm going to make for you today. So I received this one in the mail. This is from Janice Charbonneau. And this is where I decided to use, she used an embossing folder that isn't part of a suite of products either. And she used that paper. So I loved that combination together. So I'm using this part of hers for the first part of my card. And then I received this one, which I thought was really, really cute. And that's where I'm using like how she did something with the flower, with the tulips and with the little U. I'm going to use, I used her idea for this because what I'm using is a circle. And notice she used that background for this one too. So those were the 2. And this is from, I should say that, Laura Milligan out of Ohio. Janice is from California. So anyway, I wanted to at least give credit to them because it is where I got my idea. All right. So this is the row of patterns, is it called? Let me look. It's in that same area. See, it's on the next. all in a row embossing folder. So it's on the next page over from the, and then it has these little gems, which this doesn't really fit with my color pattern, so I didn't use those, but I used those two things. All right, so we're going to use that embossing folder. And let me bring my dimensions in here. I'll get you the things here, and then we'll show you a little bit more about how I made this card. Super easy, right? Not many parts. So I have a card base that is 10.5 by 4 1/4, and I scored it at 2 inches and at 6 1/4. Okay, and this is Daffodil Delight. I have a DSP piece that measures 1 3/4 by 4. And then I have a bottom and an inside that are each 4 by 4. So one of them is in Daffodil Delight, and it's embossed just like that one card that I showed you. And the other one is for the inside. Okay. And then I have a scrap of white to do some stamping. I don't know why I have 2 pieces of this, but I do. But there we go. We only need one. This is a 2 3/8 inch circle, and it's in Daffodil Delight, and I have 2 of them. And then this is a 2 1/4 inch punch, and I have one of those, and that's just in white. All right, that's all of our pieces. That's that extra that I don't need. I'm going to set this aside until we need it. All right, let's go ahead and start with stamping on our scrap and on our inside and on our circle. Oh, you need a piece for the greeting. Where's my greeting? Here it is. This is a 1/2 inch by 2 inches. I didn't put that on there. I'll write it on there afterwards. It's a 1/2 inch by 2. So I need that as well. Okay, so all of these, where did my circle go now? Jeez. Here we go. All right, so colors that I'm using. Crushed, oh, not crushed curry. Daffodil Delight. Here we go. No, that's Darling Duckling. Here's my Daffodil. Here's my Daffodil Delight. Daffodil Delight, Garden Green. First card I did wrong. Smoky Slate. And I do have a, somewhere, Memento. But I can just grab another one of those. I thought I had one pulled out. But here, we'll just grab, here's a Memento. Okay. So those are the colors we're using. For our greeting, I'm going to use the Sending Flowers and Sunshine. It doesn't look like it's inked up very well. There we go. I need to put a different color underneath this. If you're having a hard time seeing where your paper ends and where, like I have this wrapped in white, so it was white on white, I just put a different color underneath it so that then I can see. There we go. Sending Sunshine and Flowers. This was my scrap. That's good. Okay, so what I did was I took the punch. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. So I took the punch with just a scrap and I punched it out. And then I took the stamps and I just lined them all up inside those stamps that I wanted. I just lined them all up inside of there and put them on a block together so that I could punch all the 3 things out that I wanted together. I didn't want to have to punch 3 different times. You can punch 3 different times if you want, but for me, it was like, okay, if I'm going to make a whole bunch of these, I'd rather have all the stamps done so I just have to punch once and I don't have to punch 3 times for all of those. Okay, so there's that. And then we're also going to do the tulips on a scrap. There. Do those down there. And then we're going to fill the tulips in with the Daffodil Delight. So this. fill those tulips in. And then we're going to take a little bit of the garden green. And we've got our petal, or leaves, I should say. This is really hard to look at over a camera. I'm like, without getting my head in there. All right. And then I also pulled out this little curly thing. I didn't do this in my first one, but I wanted to try this. Let's see if we put that up here. Get a little yellow in the top of our little U. And then I have our little bell fill in that we're going to do in Smoky Slate. I'm going to leave these open because we got to use those yet. Now, you could color those all in if you wanted to. I'm also going to take my, I think I'm going to do the darker, the dark petal pink. And I'm just going to add some little cheeks and something a little bit pink in his ears. That looks really, there we go, that's better. The other one looked almost watery, alcohol-y. All right, so this is stuff we're going to punch, but let's keep stamping. Let's take our circle in here, and I'm going to bring in our grass, and I'm going to use the garden green. I'm just going down towards the bottom. Well, let's see. That looks good because it kind of looks like I think it's not, I think it's going to be covered enough that you're not going to be able to see that. I didn't do a very good job of lining that up. Did a much better job when I did my sample. Let's see how it looks. I think when I put the flowers in there, it'll end up being okay. Let's bring our tulips back in. And I'm just going to stamp 2 of them off to the right here. And then I'm going to do 1 of them on the left-hand side. Okay. Super. I mean, this set is just fun to play with. It's got all these little fill things and all these little pieces. I'm going to fill in my flowers. Again, you could color them if you feel better coloring them and don't like to line these things up. I think these things line up pretty easily, even having to keep my head out of the camera and not being able to bring it very close to me. They still feel pretty good. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Let's see. What else do I have to do? I have to put a little bit of, put some tulips down here. Need some grass. And our tulips. Okay, and then do the same thing I did with the other ones. Just fill them in. And we need some green. Okay, that's going to be our inside. And then I'm just going to add a greeting when I go to send it. And I'll probably put the greeting down here, whether that be happy birthday or thinking of you or whatever the case might be, whatever I need the card for. I thought I could put a greeting right in that lower section. and then write my little message up in there. Okay, we are done with all of our stamping. So I'm going to close up all of these ink pads. Going to bring our punch in here. And you know what? I lined this up the wrong way. You do want to look to see. There we go. The feet were on the bottom, so I just had to cut some of that off there. So now I should be able to get it lined up, and everything should cut out the way it's supposed to, because I did that little template and lined everything up. Okay, so there is our little lamb. Now you can make your lamb go like that. You can put your head on like that. You can put your head on that way. It really doesn't matter, whichever way you want to do it. I'm going to cut these out, fussy cut those out. So we're going to bring our circle back in here. And this is going to go in there, and it is going to cover some of your flowers up. Okay, we do have to stay within our circle, so I'm going to put his head about right there. It's okay if the ear is a little bit, because there is the other circle. Actually, let's put this on. I do have to stay within that yellow circle, or I'm going to run into problems with this fold. So let me go ahead and attach this to one of those yellow circles. I probably put this up a little bit higher than I did. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of build. I'm going to put this on dimensionals because I want to raise it up from that flower. So I want to put it about right there, and then this I can just tuck right underneath there like that. Okay, so that's what my little, isn't he cute? All right, so let's go ahead and let's build him right on here. So let's go like this and like that. So let's put a little bit of glue. There we go. And then we need to tuck this underneath there. Okay, and then I'm going to raise this up on dimensionals. So I'm going to put a dimensional between where his head and his body meet, just to make sure that I keep that together. Don't want his head falling off. All right. Take those off. Okay, his ear makes it right there. Ooh, cute, 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 cute. Okay, then we're going to cut out, I really just need this one. Not watching comments. Yeah, Julie, he is. Yes, I could use a wobble, but not for this card, Mary. But this is a perfect card for a wobble. You'll see why when I put this together, why I can't use a wobble for this card. It just would not work. But I've seen wobbles used for this stamp set or for this bundle a lot. So for those of you that don't know what wobbles are, they're little, it's a little sticker thing that you could do so that when you go to play with this, you could like move him and he'll wobble back and forth. So it's like a little spring thing that you would attach to that. But because this is going to be in a certain spot of our card where it probably won't work that well, I did not make this into a wobble. All right, this is going to get attached just on the end like that. So I just need a little bit of glue right here. And it's going to be one of those things where when I attach my dimensionals, I'm going to make sure that I attach it just like I did with the head. I don't want too much glue, so I'm not pushing real hard here. As soon as I do that, then a whole bunch is going to come out. Let's see here. I've got two things of glue sitting out. Maybe this one will come out better. There we go. Okay. And I just wanted that little end of that flower. There we go. Okay, so let's look at our fold because we've got a little bit to do with that yet as well. So we're going to fold this up and fold this over. Now, what's going to happen is that sometimes it's not going to fold exactly. It's going to buckle like this. So what you want to do, can you see my little buckle there? What you want to do is you want to take a bone folder and you just want to spread that down and force the fold to be exactly where you want it. Okay, and now I don't have a buckle anymore. All right, so all I did was just take a bone folder, put it up there, it was buckled, push it down exactly where you want it. Okay, I'm going to take a piece of typing paper, which is right here, and I'm going to take my 2 3/8 inch circle punch, and I'm going to punch out a piece of that. Actually, let me do one more thing before I do that. Let's attach our designer paper right here. Look at that pretty blue on the back. All right, and then while we're at it, we can go ahead. I'm going to do this with liquid glue only because it's embossed. And when things are embossed, I like to do liquid glue because it gets in all the little crevices of that embossing. Hi, Carol. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cut out a half a circle here that's going to set this in here. So we're going to make like a little flip that this goes through. All right. So what I want to do is I want to take this typing paper and I want to fold it in half. And I want to open this up. And I want to set this right in that crease so that I'm cutting it right at the half, because I can try to eyeball it and not have any success at all. So I'm taking that score line and I'm making sure that I'm cutting it right in half. And I'm going to take a little bit of my Post-it tape. I'm just going to tape that. It's temporary tape, just like a Post-it note is temporary. I'm just going to tape that in place. And then I'm going to take my punch and I'm going to line that up. You know what? I got to move it over a little bit because I've got to go in, be able to get all the way in. There we go. I put it in too far. How did I know that? Because I couldn't push my punch any further and I wasn't too, there we go. That's better. Okay, see how that circle is completely in my punch area? When it's completely in my punch area, I'm just going to punch it. Then I'm going to take this temporary tape off. And I can keep reusing this circle. When I'm making a whole bunch of them, I can go ahead and keep using that circle. Okay, so that's going to pop over like that. And then this is going to set right inside of there so that then this opens up like that. And then the whole thing opens down. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue in here. I don't know what the name of this one is either. I can tell you that I made this years and years ago. It has been years since I've made this card. And I happened to see that Connie Stewart, Simply Simple Stamping, had her top 10 fun folds of the year. And this one was #1. Like more people watched her video on this one than any other one and requested the dimensions for it. And so she had it highlighted as #1. And I'm like, you know what? This obviously wasn't the card that she made because this product wasn't out, but it got me thinking of how I used it. And I had used it with a little animal up here in the past. She did it with her greeting up there. And then she had designer paper down here, but you could do whatever you wanted to. Okay, so this opens up and then this opens down. And then our inside, first of all, I have a second so that you don't see that. I'm going to go ahead and put another circle there just to kind of cover that up again. But you do have to match it up perfectly because otherwise it will not go through that circle. So that's why I had 2 of them. It also makes that a little bit stiffer when it goes through. Okay, so it goes through there, opens up here, opens up that way, and my flowers are going to go, for my inside, are going to go right there. And then you can write your greeting in there. Now, I wanted to add a little bit to this. Okay, so, oops, I got to put this on. I'm going to put some dimensionals. I'm going to put some right there. Hold those together. Hold that flower on. Okay, sending flowers and sunshine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, do I have it here? Did I put it back? Oh, it's sitting over by my punches. This is from our punch trio. I'm not even sure if it's still available, but you would just need 1/8 of an inch roughly. Either punch, like you could do just like a hole punch. You could just wrap this around here. She had an idea to put this, and I'm going to go ahead and line the side up with the edge of the yellow there. And then I'm going to go in just a little bit from where my designer series paper starts. And then I'm going to line the same thing up on this side. Make sure that this is the edge of my punch. Go in a little bit more from where my designer series paper is. And punch. Okay, then I'm going to take some of our white. This is from our Essentials Baker's Twine. And I'm going to put some up here. Cut enough up to make a bow. And you could have used like ribbon down here. I just thought it added a little bit something to put it up on top here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a glue dot. I'm just going to kind of roll it into like a little ball. I'm going to set that over a little bit from I want to kind of have it in line with that. So here's my glue dot, and there's that line. I'm going to go ahead and tie this in a knot. And I'm going to press that knot right into that glue dot. That's where I want my bow to be. Kind of keeps it right where I want it. And then I will tie my bow. don't know if Denise is still on here. I think you were on earlier, Denise. I was thinking this could be a really cute, like, it doesn't have the greeting for it. But I was thinking I could type the greeting and be Jesus loves you, because Jesus is the shepherd and we are the sheep and Jesus loves you. I thought that would almost be really cute even for the first communion card somehow. I know it doesn't have the chalice and the hosting and stuff like that, but I thought, oh my gosh, this could even be a really cute, using this stamp set for first communion could even probably work. Make this side a little bit smaller. My glue dot is really big. I'm going to try to make it a little smaller yet. I wanted you to be able to see it, so I didn't make it into the smallest little loop I could. There we go. Now I can't see it anymore. Let's cut this one a little bit shorter. All right, so there is our final card. Whew. All right, so this was 2 3/8, and then I did 2 1/4. You could do the 2-inch circle, and then I just open that up, and then it folds down, and there we have our inside greeting. Denise was just thinking about that. Yeah, I think like there's so many. It's cute. There's a couple of different bodies. One of them, it's like, I think both cards that I had used the same body. Nope, this one used the other one where it's like up on its feet, a little like on one set of feet. But I mean, I like this one. But you could do the little bow for the little girls, and you could do the bell for the little boys if you wanted to, because there's the bow, there's the bell. And it could be Jesus loves you. And it's got the little butterfly and the tulips. Oh my goodness. For Little Shoot and Darboy, that would be perfect. All right. So we're both communities have a lot of Dutch people in them. So sending flowers and sunshine, we go ahead, we open it up, and there is our inside where we can write a little greeting. Awesome, we're done. Let's see let's do like some little flowers on the outside here yet. Let's do, just have them coming off the edge like that. Did I put my, let's see, here's my green. You could also put like a whole row of them along the back too. I just thought of that, but we'll just do it this way. Our Daffodil Delight. Fill in our little tulips. Oh, so fun. And then let's put a little grass just to not make them floating. There we go. There's our outside of our card. And we are done. Yeah, Kelly, it is a fun fold. Like I said, I did this years and years ago. In fact, it might be Debbie Peters that introduced me to this fold. I think she might have sent me a card with this fold. And I don't think I ever did it for a live because it's been that long since I did it. Let's see, where are my dimensions? It's really short. Here we go. So 10.5 by 4 1/4. Score at 2 inches and at 6 1/4, and then you kind of like force it to fold. And then the DSP is the top, and then the bottom is 4 by 4, and so is this inside piece is 4 by 4. Now, if you wanted to, you could use our stylish shapes circles. You could, and die cut it out. You could also use the Spotlight on Nature. The only thing you have to be careful of is you have to make sure that this height is no more than 5 1/2. Okay, so this right here is 4 1/4. So what I had to do is I had to make sure that this circle, so I used 2 3/8, which would add about 1 1/8 for half of it for the diameter. So I was okay. This has to be 1 1/4 or less, because this has to be 5 1/2. It has to be 5 1/2 or less. So, and you could always put like some graph paper underneath it to measure it. You could have, you know, your ruler sitting there. I have a white strip on this so you can kind of see. So like if I go top to bottom right now, I'm at 5.5, just shy of 5.5. I'm a 16th of an inch shy of 5.5. So it's going to fit into my envelope. All right, so that is our second card today with our little woolly friends. It's so cute. You make me happy. You're simply fabulous. So yeah, just a fun little card. All right, so our two cards for today, we've got this one right here with our little fun fold, and we have our hope, wishing you hope. Both of our cards could be used to send to someone who's going through maybe a difficult time, sending prayers. Yeah, so those are, whoops, the dimensions got out of the frame here. Let me pull this down. There we go. All right, so there are our two cards. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I loved how this one turned out for my swap. I haven't gotten those swaps yet. They were mailed on, this is our postal system. They were mailed on Tuesday, I think. And it said that I was supposed to get them today. And now when I looked on today, it says I'm going to get them on Monday. So I'm not sure why it takes that long to go from Fond du Lac to Appleton, which for those of you who aren't from Wisconsin, it's about a 45-minute drive. So I'm not quite sure why it takes it from Tuesday and takes almost a week to get through our postal system, but that's what we're at right now. So I just did not have time to drive down there to drop them off, and I did not have time to drive down there and pick them up. So I will be getting them when I get them. So I will share some of those with you when I actually get them. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed these. Oh, you know what? We forgot to put our little gems on here. I did have some gems. I used the Pearls of Beauty. I have so many of the white ones left over because I used so many of the crumb cake and the Calypso coral, but I didn't use a lot of the white. And so I did just throw a couple of, I did like the bigger one kind of down on the bottom. And then I did a little one off to the side and then another little one up there, just to add a few gems to that as well. Now you could, if you wanted to, you could do, I was going to use our Sweet as a Bug paper, and I was going to do just the paper down here. In fact, I cut, here I can show you, I had gotten it started with it, and I didn't finish it because I decided I wanted to use that instead. But you could use the Sweet as a Bug paper, use a different paper on the top, and make a card that way and not have to do all of the stamping, and just put like a little greeting up here in your circle. That would work as well. Let the designer paper do all the work. So a lot of different ways to use that fold. All right, let's see. Let me come back to you here. Whoops, not there. How about that? Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm sorry I wasn't live on Thursday, but you got the same thing today that you would have gotten on Thursday. A reminder of the bonus days going on right now and the product of the month as some specials that Stampin' Up's offering right now. I will be live again this Thursday, God willing, with more inspiration from our new product. Again, a reminder in case, yes, go Packers tonight. A reminder that, oh my goodness, it is snowing like crazy. Our snow is finally gone. Like yesterday, I came home and there weren't any piles of snow anymore because it's been really warm this week. And now it is snowing like crazy. We've got a whole blanket, which I kind of like because I have a dog. You guys all know that everyone probably knows I have a dog. And Lila is not one that does a lot of digging, thankfully. But every time it melts and then the snow comes back, when it melts, it's like that spring, like dirtiness in your yard. And she's like, comes in and you got to towel her off. You got to wipe her off and stuff like that because she's filled with some mud. And it's not like she's getting into the mud. It's just like the grass is muddy because it's wet. So anywho, Yeah, it's snowing like crazy right now. So, um, I was saying if you wanted a catalog, make sure that you email like me. Let me put my email address up here because I've lost track of who I have given them to at events that I had and who still needs them. So please let me know. Email me if you would like that. If you're waiting for my newsletter, it's coming out this week. I was hoping to be able to send the selection of cards for my card buffet, which really isn't until January 31st with it. But with not getting my swaps back, I was going to use some of those as possible cards. So hopefully I will be able to do that this weekend and get that off to you. So um, anyhow, oh, my sister is trying to call me. We're calling to plan our trip to Alaska because Stampin' Up finally disclosure, less than 1% of Stampin' Up! Demonstrators earn it, but they sent us all of the information this week, and we have to sign up. So she and my brother-in-law, I believe, are going to still be going with me. We finally found out how much it's going to cost to add an extra person on. So I have to make sure that that's something they still want to do with that extra cost. So anyhow, you guys have a great weekend. I will see you next Thursday. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.